Hi there again, Phil Simborg for the USBGF, and again, I've got a cute little guest with me today, and he doesn't wear a skirt, but Matt Congeyer has often been called the cute little player of backgammon, but he's the number 5 giant in the world, too, and that's why I call on him to help me in positions like this. This is a position that came up in the Chouette not long ago, and several people in the Chouette got this one wrong. It's a cube action problem. Red is on roll. What's the proper cube action here? Should red double? And if red doubles, should blue take or pass? Give it a little thought, and then we'll hear what Matt has to say about this position, and then I'll have some questions for Matt as well. Okay, your clock is running. Your time is up. Hopefully you've decided whether or not you would double and whether or not you would pass, and I know positions like this should take a little bit more time, but let's hear what Matt has to say about this. Do you want me to show the answer, Matt, or do you want to discuss it first?
I guess discuss it. Thanks, Phil. I don't know if I've ever been called a cute little backhand player, but I guess it's just how nicknames get started, right?
Well, they say a lot of things behind your back that you probably haven't heard yet. The most recent nickname is you've been called Fatty.
Yeah.
Or Chubby. Chubby Matt.
Some people call me Tiny.
Yeah. I used to
like
call
when you call a really big guy Tiny.
Yeah. Well, that's right. That's right.
So Red's on roll, and he's bearing in against a 3 game. To me, it certainly looks like a pretty easy take. He's got the open 5-point. He's got 2 checkers kind of buried on the deuce.
It didn't immediately scare you that blue doesn't have enough timing here?
Well, red's looking like, I mean, the timing looks like it's maybe okay for me. I don't have to wait until like the end of the game to hit a late shot. You know, red's going to have some problems bearing in. He's not really a favorite to make the 5-point. He's a pretty sizable dog to make the 5-point. And if he doesn't make the 5-point, he can get into a really awkward position really quickly. Like, say he rolls a roll like double 6, now he's just like totally, he's going to leave multiple shots.
I see.
Or roll like 6-5, you know, now he's in pretty awkward shape. Roll like double 5s, or even a roll like, you know, 6-3 or 6-2.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm looking at the glass half empty. If I'm blue, I wasn't thinking what you just said, that he probably doesn't make the 5-point. And now I think about it, what you say makes a lot of sense. There may be several rolls where he could make the 5-point and leave a double shot to do it, but he's not going to do it. So that's part of what's going to stop him from making the 5-point.
Well, his best rolls actually are rolls like 4-2, 3-2. Like, you're not really looking to hit the ace. Your best rolls are going to be like 4-2, 3-2, where you make the 5, double 2s, where you make the 5, maybe even double 4s. Double 4s is probably one of your better rolls, even though the timing gets a lot worse for you. But at least you have made the 5-point. Like, you're not really looking, like, even if you roll an ace, I don't know if you should hit, like, even if I rolled like a 4-1, I might just play like 13-8 or 13-9, 7-6. Because if you hit, like, now, Blue can just enter, he can fan for a roll, which really helps his timing. He can enter on the 5. He can enter with a 5-4, and now he switches to the 5-3 game. And that's the other thing. As long as you don't make the 5-point, he can roll double deuces, he can roll double 4s and switch to a 5-3 game.
Okay, so you've convinced me that this is a take, even though in the Chouette it was passed. Was it right to double?
I think it's a double. The timing is certainly not perfect. And there's market losers. By making the 5-point, you can lose your market. If you roll 4-2, 3-2, double deuces, maybe double 4s. And you can also lose your market when you don't roll a number like that, and blue rolls a really bad number. Blue rolls double 5 or double 6, or you know, and then he's just like totally crunched.
And you can also get 2 passes like I did in the Chouette. That's a very good reason to double. Let's look at the analysis, and the analysis shows that it's been rolled out a pretty small double, not a big double, 4%, and a huge take. And by the way, I'm not going to make fun of the guys I was playing with, because I really didn't think they made a mistake when they dropped it. I wasn't sure, and that's why I took a picture. But I was afraid of the timing here too. And just to show you how sensitive these kinds of positions are, if you take the checker that's on the 2-point here for blue, and we move this checker to here, it's not even a double, because now blue has really good timing. So it went from a bare double to a huge no double when you give blue that kind of extra timing. And
yeah, and now, you know, blue has multiple roles that he can play. He can also just, you know, he doesn't have to make his deuce point now. He can just try to make the bar, and then, you know, if he rolls like 4-3, he'll make the bar, and now he has that kind of 5-5. And you're gonna, you know, as long as you don't have the 5 points, it's really hard for red to bear in.
Okay, well, let's test that theory. Let's give red the 5-point.
Yeah, this is like, this is
pretty scary to take, wouldn't it?
This is like a huge pass, and like probably like too good if red's holding the cube. I think
too good without the Jacoby rule. Let's see if it's too good. It's never too good with the Jacoby rule, because
there's really not much that you can roll. It's bad. The only roll where blue can take is like double 6, double 5.
Yeah,
like almost every other roll, you can just wait until and probably win a count.
So it's the 5-point seems to be a major factor, but if we make the 5-point another way, this way,
yeah, the timing got a lot worse for you.
For red, it got a lot worse for red. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's still, making the 5 is still really strong, because now you can just bear in effectively. You can never switch to the 5-3 game.
Look what happened though. Because of the timing, it went from a small double to flip a coin. Wow. Of course, we'd have to roll it out to be sure. But so that shows you that making the 5-point was big for red, but gaining those 20 pips in the race is very, very big for blue.
Right.
So very sensitive about both those issues. So, okay, I'm a guy that wants to get these right all the time. I haven't heard anything from you that's a formula. I haven't heard if the pip count is X and at this point is Y, I double or don't double. I don't have a formula for this. Are you doing this all pretty much by feel and by just sort of guessing what's going to happen in the next few rolls?
Yeah, it's feel. It comes from experience and some sort of reference positions, you know, looking at his next roll. I mean, the first thing that jumps out at me when I see this position is, you know, red's 5-point is open, and he has 2 checkers kind of out of play on the deuce. So it's not like he has spares and timing to play with. You know, he's going to be stripped. He's going to be leaving shots.
I got you.
And it's going to be hard for him to make his 5-point, because it's not that easy to bring builders into, you know, natural places.
So this is a positional take as much as it is a timing situation thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's really, I have seen some formulas, like if you're down 60 pips, you can take, or 70 pips or whatever, but it's really like, you know, moving 1 or 2 checkers can really affect the, you know, if you have a...
I play by those formulas, and I can show you that those formulas are pretty good if you have a completely mature back game and you've got plenty of timing here.
Oh, yeah, sure. Well,
now, we all know this isn't even a double.
Right.
This would be a very bad double.
If you have a perfectly timed game, then, you know, when you're going to clear 3 points in front of him or whatever, so when you're about to clear the 6th point, you can double. But, but, I mean, you know, most games do not fall into perfectly, perfect 1-3 games where one side has perfect timing and the other side's perfectly efficient at bearing in, right? Here you've got, one side doesn't have that great of timing, but on the other hand, bearing in is not trivial because you have an open point. So it comes with experience and just like knowing what other positions look like, and how bad having an open 5-point is against a 3-point game. I mean, even if you just had the 3-point, there's certainly play. As opposed to I mean, having the 1-3 is also nice, but
yeah, I have a reference that if you have the 3-point and he's still bearing in, and you have reasonable timing with the 3-point with 2 checkers back, you can still win the game about 18% of the time just from there, and you only get gammon about 4 or 5% of the time when he's bearing in, like a position like this.
So I mean,
well, look at this. This is even more. This is like because he's got 2 points to clear. My reference is
he has bad rolls here.
Yeah, there's some bad rolls.
Here he doesn't have as many bad rolls. Here, this should be a lot bigger because with the checker outside there, if he rolls like a 5, like he has some really bad rolls. Like 5-3 leaves an immediate shot.
Right. So this is basically my reference. Like I said, it was around 18% wins. So just this alone is not a horrible. Is not too far away from the take. If you ignore the game.
Take out Red's 5-point, put like those 2 checkers back on the midpoint, and you can see this should be like a take. Like,
oh yeah,
it's really hard for. I mean, it's hard for him to win without. It's hard for him to bear in effectively without leaving shots in the future.
And here's a game where Blue has virtually no race. His whole game is basically down 35 pips, and Red's on roll. Blue has a 26% chance of winning just because of the odds of getting a shot and hitting it from here.
Yeah. So I mean, the ace-3 game that you showed earlier is like it's kind of nice to have the ace point, but it's not really like a full-on back game. Like you're trying to hit shots sooner rather than when he's bearing off checkers.
Yeah. So, and as long as the 5-point is open, those checkers on the ace aren't buried. If you have to hit from the 3-point, you still have play and you can get those checkers out.
Yeah.
Matt, anything else to add on this position or on this type of thing?
No.
I have one thing to add, and I think this is the biggest lesson about what we heard today. And it's a quote that I often use from Neil Kazaros. He says that you just have to get your hands dirty. The only way you can become really good at backgammon is to get your hands dirty. You've got to do the dirty work. And what Matt is saying today is he gets these right because he has enough reference positions, because he's looked at them enough and played with them enough, and he just sort of knows how they're going to play out. Well, you can't know that unless you have worked with enough of these positions and put enough of them in extreme gammon to see when it does become a drop, when it does become a take. And doing what Matt and I just did, we took a basic position, we started shifting things around to see how that affected the cube decision. And there was one other thing that you mentioned, Matt, that I do want to check because I think it's very interesting. But one of the ways you can have to visualize is how the game plays out. So the question is, do you hit with a 4-1? Are you helping him with timing? Yeah. Let's say that you don't double. Let's find out if Matt's right. You certainly do help him a lot with this timing. If you play just beyond without hitting, you're leaving him a 1-shot. Are you that afraid of getting hit right now? Well, a lot of people would be, but maybe that's the best thing for you. It would really kill his timing if you get hit, as long as you don't get trapped, and that's not likely. So let's see what we do here with a 4-1. And look at this. You don't hit. Hitting would be let's plus it. Let's plus it. But that was a good point, and this is a big mistake that many people would make in these positions: when to hit and when not to hit. There is a point when your opponent's in a back game where you hit everything, and that's when he's overtimed, and you're not really helping his timing much. He's already got the timing, and you're stopping him from making good points in his board, and you're increasing your gammons and backgammons. And there's a time like this where the hit really helps Blue. And one of the reasons...
It's a hard question of when to hit or not to hit in a back game. You know, it's not always you're improving his timing or you're hurting his timing. But in a situation like this where the timing is really questionable, like it could go either way, and 12 pips could make a really big difference, or he could enter with a 5-4 and just make a really strong game, or, you know, something like that. This seems like the situation where you don't want to hit, but it's hard, and it comes with the experience, certainly, of putting positions into extreme and also playing them out. You know, the more positions like this you've played out.
I have one other method that tells me whether to hit or not these positions, and it's a little thing I stole from Kit Woolsey. In Woolsey's law, I use Simborg's law of trying to be as mean as you can to your opponent. That's it. So you put yourself in your opponent's shoes here. If you're red and you roll a 4-1, and you pretend you're blue, and you ask yourself, do I want him to hit me or not? And if you're sitting there rubbing your hands saying, please, please hit me, please, please hit me, would I love to be hit here and have this timing? That's a very good way to tell. And by the way, if you're sitting in blue seat, I think it's easier to see that you'd like to get hit, that you feel pressed for time here, and you would love to get that checker hit. And that's the thing that would tell me not to hit, because I don't want to be nice to the guy. If I was a nice person, if I was fundamentally a nice person, I wouldn't be playing backgammon. So I want to be as mean as I can. So I put myself in his shoes, and I do exactly what I think he would not want me to do. And that would make it easier for me to not hit here. And the other thing is, it also gives you a chance to look at the board from blue's eyes, from blue's perspective. We spent the whole game looking at what should red do, and where is red going, and how is red going to play this. And very often we're so myopic we don't even think about, what does it feel like to be blue here? What is he trying to do? So that's the advantage. And I really learned that from Woolsey's law on the cube, but I'm now applying it in checker plays as well, and I think it helps a lot. Matt, thanks for your time and analysis and donating your time to the USBGF, and we will see you again in future positions, and we'll see you again soon at a tournament. Am I going to see you in San Antonio?
Certainly. I think I will be in San Antonio, yes.
Okay, well, don't miss my lecture with Mochi. You might learn something.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you, Phil.
All right, thanks.
Take
Thanks
care,
a lot.
everybody.
All right.